This is Straight Up with Toby Martini. I am Toby Martini, and on this show, we talk about a few different things. What it's like to be an entrepreneur, how do you be in business today? Sometimes the psychology of what's behind it. How do you be successful? How do you make more money? Let's go find out. Hey everybody, Toby Martini. Welcome to the big show. It's Straight Up with Toby Martini. And you know why that is, right? Because if you listen and you take advice and you do the resources that you're given, your business will go straight up. Isn't that magical? Chris, is that magical? Yes.
No.
It's magical.
No, not really.
Yes,
okay, it is. It's a little magical.
It's very magical.
It's not David Copperfield magical.
No, because that's all an illusion. This is real stuff. This is dollars in your pocket kind of stuff. First things first today, we're going to talk about sponsors. I do have some great sponsors. One is Score Pinellas. So you can find them at pinellascounty.score.org. And I'm actually doing a workshop for Score tonight about how to get a website going really quick, like for under $100 this week. For a lot of entrepreneurs, they have cash flow struggles. They're not, they don't have a couple of grand for a website. So I like to teach them how do I just go do that, and so you have something. But Score offers a lot of resources. There's a bunch of free workshops. And you get a counselor, a mentor, sort of person who can help you with any aspect of your business. So check that out, pinellascounty.score.org. And then I always got to give out love for Angela at New Urban Suites. She's awesome. You can call her, and even if you don't rent an office space, she's just fun to talk to. NewUrbanSuites.com. They have a really cool office space down in Ybor City, and I highly recommend that you get out of your home office and put on some pants and go get some real work done. All right, so newurbansuites.com.
And then your unofficial sponsor.
Oh, the unofficial sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, drink more Mountain Dew. If there's a Mountain Dew shortage, I will be upset. I will tell you right now. I won't know how to function.
I just hope they don't, go under for your sake.
They couldn't possibly. I give them enough money. Absolutely. That company is solvent forever.
One person can support an entire corporation.
Well, I've had so many people ask me, say, oh, you drink that. Is that why you're so up and manic and like that? I'm like, has nothing to do with it.
No, it just amplifies it a little bit.
No, I mean, I could do without. I just don't want to. Yeah. I could quit any time. But so yes, Mountain Dew is delicious stuff, and at some point they will be my official sponsor, and then I'll have to wear like a headband and stuff. So today we are talking about entrepreneurialism as a skill set, it's weird. You know how the world shows up according to the way you look at things, right? What you focus on is your reality. And what you're surrounded by, you just think that's the way the world is. And I kind of have it like, wow, everybody should be an entrepreneur. Everybody should have their own business. Because of all the people I know, 80% of them run their own business. Truth is, that's weird. It's an anomaly. That's not really how all of America is working, right? Because 90% of everybody in America, 90% of all the employed people in America are employees, right? They're, I guess that's a redundancy. Most people who are working for someone else, except for in these small patches in our own little groups. So I have to remember that it's a little strange and that it's a little scary for folks. And one of the things is, I've talked about this a lot in the past. I don't think recently so much, but for the last 100, maybe 150 years, is as long as we've been cogs in the machine. Before the Industrial Revolution, people worked for themselves. Everybody had their own business. And you were in the family business, or if you hated the family business, you went out and you did your own other business. And maybe you were an apprentice for a while. So that's like being an employee, but it was for a term. It wasn't forever. It was for a while. And then you were your own business, right? If you were a blacksmith or you made beer or you were a hunter and sold that, everybody ran their own business. And then the Industrial Revolution came and factories and all of that. And along with it came this company that I work for. Not only will they pay me, but they'll take care of me. And you got pensions and healthcare and those sort of things. And now we live in this world where everybody's grown up, inculcated, just taught all of the time in school. Here's what you need to do. Here's the time you have allotted to do it. And if you do well, you'll get a star, you'll get an A, or you'll get a raise. They teach you in school how to grow up to be a good little employee. And there's just not enough training for people to go out and be entrepreneurs and to own their own business. I was talking to a gent, David O'Neill, who's a good guy. He's at the Bishop Center for, I could say it's entrepreneurialism and social change, but it's technically called something else. But it's part of the business school at USF St. Pete. And they have a program, it's for entrepreneurs. It's a track, right? Some people could get a degree in marketing or finance. Now you can actually get a degree in entrepreneur. Eckerd College has one, I believe. I know UT has one. And so they're now actually teaching people in college, how do I run a business? What are the things I need to know? I need to know how to pitch. I'm going to need to know how to figure out what people want. I'm going to need to figure out marketing and such in a different way, not big corporate marketing. So it's very cool that that's happening. Problem is, it's just starting now. All of these programs have only been around a year, maybe 2 at the most.
Right.
Nobody's ever been taught, how do I go out and run my own business? They've been taught how to function in somebody else's business.
Do you think that's because why a lot of small businesses fail? Because people just don't know and they don't go out and learn?
Absolutely. People don't know. And our guest today, Ken Queen, has been an entrepreneur his whole life. He's done a lot of businesses, but we were talking before about how what was your question? Oh, they fail because they don't know.
Right.
People aren't trained in all of the aspects of business. So, for example, like the E-Myth, which is a famous book by Michael Gerber, he talks about how people are good at one thing. Like they're a technician. I'm good at making pie, or I know how to make a website.
Right.
So what happens is people will lose their jobs, for example, and now they're forced to go be an entrepreneur. Ken was saying, with the unemployment the way it is now, a lot of people are forced to be entrepreneurs. Kind of. It's an option.
Right.
And so they jump out and they go, well, I'm good at making pie, so I'll open a pie store. Why people fail is they don't know marketing and accounting and sales or any of that stuff, and they don't really want to learn. And they've had no training whatsoever. So if you're going to go be a business owner, you have to go train yourself. Right? I got to go read books. I got to go to seminars. I got to get a mentor. I got to do something and figure out how do I do all of those things. And then, I get to fall back on my most favorite, least favorite kind of quote, which is a statistic. 56% of everybody in America, 56% of Americans haven't read a whole book since they graduated. 56% haven't read a whole book. It's ridiculous. And so if you're going to go start a business and you can't read, not can't, but won't read, then you're going to lose. You're going to lose that game because there's no way for you to do it. You're going to struggle along and you're going to have failures and you're going to have successes. And there's nothing wrong with failures, except when you're starting something and you don't have any money, you can only handle so many big failures.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's this other thing, which is just everything comes back to mindset. But people, looking to say, people are afraid to fail at anything. Mm-hmm. When you're an entrepreneur and you're going to do business, you better throw stuff up and see what works. You have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing, I'm going to try this and see how that goes. And I said that here on a show a couple of weeks ago. That's what I kind of like about Alex here at the studio. Run and talk about studios. Sometimes it's like, I don't really know if this is going to work. Let's try it. And I'm like, you will be successful.
Right.
Because I'm just willing to try stuff. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. Don't bet the farm that it's going to work. Don't have just one, put all your eggs in one basket. Speaking of which, Mountain Dew. Good segue.
Yes.
I should probably drink this during breaks, but we don't really get a lot of breaks. Okay. So this thing about being an entrepreneur, it's scary for people because they're not trained to.
Okay.
Yeah. They're scary because they're not, it's scary out there because they're not trained. And then another piece of it is in the media, entrepreneurs are generally portrayed as kind of evil, money-grubbing people, only out for the dollar and screw the people. And, the church is going to get closed down because they're going to knock it over. The orphanage is going to be closed because the guy wants to make money. And they're always shown as kind of these evil, money-grubbing people. If you say, I'm going to go be in business, and then you have the picture that entrepreneurs are evil, money-grubbing people, you'll probably sabotage it because you don't want to be known as an evil, money-grubbing person, right? And so you have this belief that that's the way they are. You might not be a good one. So it kind of conspires against, the system conspires against people breaking out and doing their own thing. And that's why I do a show like this. That's why I'm always talking to people saying, go do this stuff. Go try. Right? If you lost the job and you're trying to figure out what you should do, what are you good at? What could you sell? Who can you help? Yeah. One of the things that happens is, people lose job. They go around looking around for another job and they don't find anything right away. Often people jump into an MLM, a multi-level marketing thing. And most people kind of shake their heads. Oh, it's terrible, it's terrible. And I agree. I don't think that's the way to millions or anything. But it's not all bad either because the good of an MLM is they'll give you some sales training. They'll give you some communications training. You'll learn to talk to people and sell and how to, use systems some. That's valuable. Unfortunately, you probably won't make any money.
No.
For the vast majority of people in MLM, only the top 10% make any money. Yeah. But
And
there's
it's generally
training.
the people like down on the ground floor.
Yeah. But that's the risk you take, right? The risk you take is jump in early. What if it fails completely? Oh, well,
Yeah.
So that's what's weird about MLMs. And then the other thing is a lot of people they're doing a business, but they don't think of themselves as a business. And that's like they have an idea, they make an ebook and they sell it on their website, or they do a little workshop locally. You're a business. You might not think so, but you're a business. Now you just have to expand it. People will sell things on eBay, right? And the second you are past selling stuff that you just have around your house, as soon as you go, I'm going to go out and find stuff to sell on eBay, you're a business because you're now in the business of finding things and then fixing it or cleaning it up and then selling it. So you're a business. Go get incorporated and call yourself a business and then handle your accounting and your marketing and all that other stuff. So I don't know if I've, made it clear or happy for people to go be an entrepreneur, but know this. The systems worked against you and taught you not to be an entrepreneur. So that's why it's a little hard to break out, right? Very few people, 0.1% of everybody in America has been taught from youth how to be an entrepreneur. So know that it's hard. It's like the Matrix, right? You got to wake up and then go be Neo. And that's what it is. And it's tricky and you're going to have some problems. It's not all wine and roses or cheese and honey or whatever they say. Milk and honey.
Whoa.
Or milk and wine. It's not all going to be milk and wine. Ugh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Sounds like really bad yogurt. So I'm just recommending if you have a job and you're like, I want to start a business, but I'm afraid, start your business. If you don't have a job, then just consider yourself a business, not just making money until you can find something. That's what I want to hope for you. We're going to take a quick commercial here, and I'm going to come back and I have a guest. Ken Queen has been an entrepreneur for, it seems like his whole life. I actually missed the part of, I think he started right when he was young, 12, 13, just decided to start selling some stuff. So we'll hear some of that story, but also some advice, some ideas, some things from a serial entrepreneur that might be able to help you. All right, Chris, kick us out.
Anybody need help?
Mighty nice of you, Padre.
Sweet Highlander.
Drums! Drums!
No!
Drums! Can somebody change the station? Music's terrible.
Dios mío, this music is melting my brain, okay?
We got a whole flock of chickens and a grand piano. Ooh, a drum kit and an organ, too. And there's a whole bunch of women playing bingo in the gym. And we can show them all a thing or two for sure. But we ain't got no room for boring.
Like, that's just too much space to consume.
No, we ain't got no room for boring. For boring, we ain't got no room.
Are you doing all right there, fella?
They were singing vegetables and chickens.
Yeah, happens to me all the time.
The all-new Highlander. Toyota.
Let's go places.
Be looking at the mic. I should be looking at right over to the
Oh,
camera.
hey, it's us. We're back. That was a real live national commercial. Amazing. Do we get paid for that, Chris?
Sure. If it makes the show better.
They're officially an unofficial new sponsor. Fantastic. So this is Ken Queen. Ken, there's our camera right there. You can look at that occasionally if you want to. Wave hi to the people. Hi, peoples. Mostly people are just listening to this through audio, so they're listening on their headphones. They can't see, how bad my hair is or any of that. So,
Or no hair? Like
no hair. No, you got hair. Yeah, he's not a bald guy. Go check out the video on YouTube if you're not. Ken's he's an attractive older man. Older than me, and he's not older. Alrighty. So, Ken, how long have you been running businesses?
Well, I got into the sales end of things first when I was young, and I think a lot of my training really came from that. One of my first jobs, left home, turned 18, and a day or later I packed my bags and went thousands of miles away from home, and no job, no money, and got a job as a door-to-door encyclopedia salesman.
Nice.
Did
you have to carry them around?
No. We carried a couple of samples.
Yeah.
I did your job. I did the same job, except it was Verizon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then, you know what that's like. And it was tough. I mean, they never saw anyone last as long as me without a sale. I went 10 days doing this, and it just was torture. And then on the 10th day was a Sunday, and there was no one there, and I thought, I'm hungry. So I went out and knocked on some doors and made 2 sales, which was probably like $1,000 commission in today's dollars, and off I went. And,
Right.
that's where I really learned, because I became national trainer for the company and learned the sales end of things. The only problem is when you try to jump from sales only into a business that you don't have the other backgrounds. And one of the first businesses I started was manufacturing of awnings, because I went and worked for an awning company, and I could sell this stuff like crazy. It was fantastic.
Sounds shady.
Yes, we provided a lot of shade. And anyway, the sales were wonderful, but guess what? We just didn't know how to make them.
Yep.
We bought all this equipment, and it was difficult. So when you start a company, I think, Toby, as you mentioned earlier in the show, you better know all the parts. You could be the best salesman in the world. You could be the best maker of awnings in the world. But if you don't know the other end, or you don't know how to balance your budget, you're going to be in trouble.
And it's everybody's problem. It's literally every business has the same problem, right? The only exception is there are people who've already run a lot of businesses and they form a partnership and they're funded.
Yes.
That's rarer. Most businesses in America are small businesses, and it's just a person or two who said, let's do this. And nobody has all the skills necessary. You have to go learn marketing, accounting, sales, like that. And so yours is only slightly different in that you weren't a technician. You didn't have I make good pie or websites. You had I can sell whatever there is to sell.
Exactly.
So it's still, it's actually a better place to start maybe, though. Right, because a person who's good at pie,
Right.
All they can do is make pie, And if you can sell, you could sell anything. Everybody else has things you could sell for them. So that's it's a good choice.
Yes, this has happened to be the background I was forced into. As I say, I was hungry.
Yeah.
And when you're hungry and your back's against the wall, it's amazing what you can do. I hadn't sold before that, but I sure learned.
Yeah.
then.
It's one of those things about people, too, is they go, there's no way I could ever do that. Oh, yeah? Back against the wall, I bet you could. Right? Ken and I talked earlier about Tony Robbins. All right, the Tony Robbins event, UPW, where you walk on fire. That's a metaphor for that same thing, right? He can get you into a state and rile you up, and you can walk on fire, which the day before, you're going, we're not really walking on fire, right? That's like a metaphor, But if you figure out, wow, I can do that, a lot of people walk away from the event going, look, if I can walk on fire, I could do anything.
Exactly.
And mostly people don't think they can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Hard pressed, yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. And sales is one of those that is often hard for people. People, like I said, entrepreneurs get a bad rap in the media. Salespeople get the worst rap in media, and just from people talking, you get a terrible rap. Like, salespeople they're hucksters, they're manipulative, they'll do everything they can to get your last dollar. And that used car salesman thing. Ladies and gentlemen, no matter what you do in the world, you're in sales.
True.
You just have to get over that. And people, I mentioned earlier, I had a coaching client today who, she's like, oh, I'm telling her in her small event, she should sell into a bigger event. She says, oh, I'm not really good at sales. I don't like to have to sell my stuff. Then you should not be in business. Right? Because
that's one of the keys, that's for sure. You either have a good salesman you hired to fill in the part you're missing, or you're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, somebody who's a coach, somebody who's a speaker, somebody who's like a personality-driven sort of a business, you have to be it. Right? Tony Robbins, as was our example, he sold himself for 15 or years before he had people. Now he's got people. If he comes to town here, he'll have a seed speaker come, and he might have 2 or 3 speakers in Tampa for a month or 2 before his event.
True.
And they speak at all these different events, and then they sell him in that event. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And you've started a couple of businesses since that.
Yes. Well, one of the businesses I started, and I think transferring ideas from one area to another is very important, and it's very effective because you can start something that no one's ever done before. And one of the things I did many years ago when people were developing a lot of film, I went to what I was selling initially was professional photography. Here's a package. You pay $300 and we come out and photograph your child every 6 months as they grow up. And I thought, okay, I'm selling this package for $300. I'm getting $50 of the $300. Why don't I start my own thing? So I took their idea and I said, okay, I will develop film. And I went to some developing studios and said, here's what I want to do. I'm going to print a book up. It's going to have 15 coupons in it. There's going to be 3 films developed for free, and the others will be at half price. Now, either you're going to buy this, or I'm going to go to the studio across the street, and they're going to buy the package. I'm going to promote your photo studio or them. And every time, the first one, I always did it. Yeah, I'll take that. Because, it's scarcity. They're giving a little bit of free material, but they're going to get a tremendous exposure. And with that, I got up to making first I tried to hire crews. I tried to kind of copy what I do with encyclopedias and get a bunch of people knocking on doors, but I found that was a big headache and couldn't make as much money as when I went down and did it myself because I was so effective at doing it. I could make $1,000 to $3,000 a day. I'd just go out, knock on doors, make the money. I would sell students. Students were my best customers. I'd say, okay, you want to buy some this film? And they'd say, yeah, give me 10 packages. Give me $1,000 worth of those.
Really?
Give me $500.
Students? What kind of school is that?
Universities. I would, and one of my best students were like people from Chinese.
Yeah.
They love photography. So they'd know the studio and say, wow, I can get all these prices, these amazing prices, and I would saturate the market. And that was one of the problems. I sold everyone, and I was in Toronto at the time. I sold everyone, all the universities. Then I was driving 2 hours, and then 4 hours. I was saturating half the province. But eventually, people weren't doing film anymore, and it was dropping from $15 to $3. And so
I'm going to ask you a question that's kind of a joke.
Yes.
What is it that you're selling right now? Anything?
Just myself.
Okay, that's fine. Because you were selling encyclopedias and now those are gone, and then you were selling film and now that's gone. Yes. So whatever you're selling now, I'm not getting into it.
Well,
you keep getting into industries and then they're going away.
One of the last things that's true, and that's a key thing. A point that you're making is if you don't hit an industry at the right peak. You're going to be gone. Yeah. And I did another industry. And
did you get out in time for both of those?
Yeah.
Like you got out before it peaked,
as soon as I couldn't, make $500 a day, then I'm going to go on to something else. Yeah. And so that changed. So another thing I did was promoting an attorney. And that was extremely good because I was able to fill up his seminars like nobody could. I learned how to go from one city to the next and get city planners to go to all his fly in from all across the country to go to his seminars,
which is kind of like the thing I was just said about Tony Robbins. You were like
that was the front man for the attorney. Exactly. That was extremely good. But again, all good things come to an end. Yeah. And at that time there, what happened with me was we were up to, I was probably making over $500,000 a year in today's dollars, and called me in the office and said, Ken, I can't stand to pay you this kind of money anymore. I said, write me a check for $15,000 right now, and I don't want to, that's it. I'll leave. And that was the end of that business. Went on to my next one.
Yeah.
Anytime someone tried to change the rules of what we initially started with, I didn't really go for.
Yeah. You're not a big renegotiator. Huh?
No, I mean, we made a deal, and hey, we're supposed to do that. And
Yeah.
when things start changing, then I go on to my next thing.
Right. Well, I'm torn. Sometimes that's true, right? But also, if the market's changed for some reason, then you could renegotiate. In that case, it sounds like the guy said, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm paying you so much."
Yes.
And he just saw the absolute dollar of
Right.
your paycheck, not comparing it to the absolute dollars of his paycheck.
That he was making.
Right, where it was.
Exactly.
Right? If I'm making $50,000 a year and I hire you and it's costing me $10,000 a year or whatever, as I get better, you make more.
Right.
If I'm now making $500,000 a year, I can't go, "Oh my God, I can't pay you $100,000.
Right.
I can't pay you that. That's ridiculous." No, it's completely right. Yeah, because I wouldn't have been there without it. I've seen that before. That happens. People go, "Oh my God, you get so much for that." Yeah, but I built it for you, right? My success is entirely hinged on your success. I'm still making the same percentage.
So I've always gone and approached someone and said, "Look, I can fundraise for you.
Mhm.
I have an idea. I'll put the package together." And one of them created over $1 million in donations for a fundraising situation. But often people don't like to share what comes in. They have a problem with
As
that.
equitably, yes.
There can be a problem with that, and so I understand that. So when I see that situation is coming along, I move on to the next thing. So I have left a lot of lucrative situations I shouldn't have. Probably the attorney in Toronto, when he said, "Hey, I'll pay you $250,000. That's the maximum I'm going to pay you," I should have been happy. But I said, "No, we were. This was our deal."
Yeah.
So-
I'm used to making 500.
and
Taking
now,
250 is
Now you want to do that. Then I did that again here in Florida with another attorney. A whole different situation. Getting him clients. He started out with zero, got him up to $65,000 a month in billing, which normally takes 10 years.
Yeah.
But I figured out how to do it in 2 or 3 months. But again, it's my background of transferring methods I've used in other fields and bringing into a new field. I believe I could do that for a doctor, a chiropractor, or anyone else. And that's my specialty: is transferring knowledge from one field to the next.
Yeah.
That's really what I'm good at.
Yeah, that's a good skill, right? One of the hold on one moment, please. We're doing till 4, right?
Oh, you want to go to 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that cool? We're just debating how long the show is going to be. So let's do it for an hour. What do you think?
All right.
Yay! Right. Typically we've been in an hour, but for the last couple of times we did a half an hour just because I was thinking. I will tell you who are listening and my producer, who I didn't get to talk to much before. All along, some of the thing is people listen to these sort of things like as podcasts. They listen to it in their car. They listen to it while they're running or something like that. And I got feedback that it's like an hour is too long to say. But I think that when you have a guest, I don't want to have a guest for 10 minutes, right? That makes no sense. I'm just thinking this all out on the air. If you have an opinion, you can call me and tell me. Or send me an email, toby@tobymartini.com, and say, make the show longer or shorter, or get off the air, you bum. Whatever you want to say. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a thing about the winners in the future aren't the people who know the most, right? But it's the people who are willing to unlearn what they knew or adapt it to a new world. And that's the thing.
Absolutely.
You say, I learned a bunch of stuff, and I can take 80% of that into a new area, and then I can adjust it. I can wiggle it, the 20% I don't know. Like
Now,
that.
sometimes you do want to take the structure. I mean, I usually need a track to run on initially. With the attorney, he said, well, here's how they normally do it. And he gave me a big pile of books and said, okay, you do this and this. So the first month I went out and I raised $40,000 for Habitat for Humanity. And, I'm great at fundraising, okay? So I went and I created all this, and that was supposed to get a lot of customers. We got 2 customers out of it, and they were both free.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'm throwing these books out now.
Yeah. Right.
We're not going to use the normal method, because the normal method takes 10 or 20 years to get there, and I need to get there next month. So I went
Again,
on the
you
internet.
want to eat, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I want to eat
kinda
now,
need to
exactly.
eat, yeah.
And I want to eat good right now. So I went on the internet. I figured out how to do it. I caused the customers to call in. I created my situation that I am the business expert for the attorney. I'm paid $500 an hour, and the attorneys are $250 an hour. So people never felt they were talking to a junior. They thought they were talking to a senior. They go on and on with me. But anyway, the point being is that they felt I was the authority. So when I told him, hey, my attorney has done, originally worked for the government.
Mm-hmm.
He's done, 300 cases. He won every one. Do you want to win?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this guy can do it. And then another thing I changed completely was all his friends said, what Ken is about to do is impossible, and that he's going to collect the money up front before they even see you. That's not possible. We don't do law that way.
Oh, yeah.
Well, guess what? When I gave him when I did it the other way, him being a new attorney, he would say foolish things like, well, why don't you go get 3 more prices, come back to me, and then we'll work with you. And I'm thinking, that's the last person I am letting you meet. Mm-hmm. I generated this customer into the office, or this client, and I'm going to close him. He's going to write me a $5,000 check right now for DUI or whatever his problem is, and then you're going to see him after I got the money. Otherwise, none of the customers get to meet you. And I did that structure, and all his friends that were attorneys said that's impossible. Right. But again, I used to applying ideas that I think might work.
Well, everything's impossible until somebody does it.
Yes.
Right. Do you know that it's physically impossible for a human being to run a 4-minute mile because they would explode or die? Did you know that? That was the case for years and years. Nobody could run more because it's physically impossible.
True.
And that's not, I think, it's a mindset thing. That is a physical reality of the world. That we all agreed until Roger Bannister did it, and then in the next year, 23 other people did it, right?
Everything changes.
Was it something in the water? No, the first guy did it, and then that whole mindset's blown. Oh, apparently it's not impossible. If he can do it, then I can do it, right? So, and that's the same thing with anybody being an entrepreneur. I said this last week, and I really like this. Your friends and your family love you the way you are, right? But your coach, your mentor, they love who you could be, right? They're for you. They stand for you. Mm-hmm. So your friends and family go, you shouldn't do that. That's risky. That's impossible. You don't have any skill in that, or whatever it is. And they say, oh, you shouldn't do that. Well, get with somebody who will go, yeah, well, maybe nobody has done it. It's harder if nobody's done it. But people go, I'm going to go be in business. And your friends and family go, oh, that's risky and you shouldn't do it. Millions of people do it, right? True. Just find some resources, right. And so impossible is not a thing. It's not a thing. I'll tell my kids that. My kid goes, oh, really? Well, I can't fly right now. Like, okay, but you can fly, right? That's a thing. You can fly, and in the future,
and maybe someday we'll be able to fly without any help of a mechanical.
Right. As soon as they pass those medical marijuana laws, sorry, that's a whole other thing. Welcome to the Captain Cannabis Show. No, that's Sunday at 4:20. Yes.
But here's the thing: the point you're making is good. Is that if you took someone out of medieval times and you brought him over here to us now and said, "Hey, we're flying around. We got cars and we got all this stuff and we got radios and TVs."
You talk to people 100 miles away.
He'd either his mind would explode or he'd think you're out of your mind. Okay, yeah. And there are people today that are able to think what it's going to be like years from now, and everyone thinks they're crazy.
Yep.
But one day they're going to be proven right.
Some of it gets proven right.
We need to be able to believe for the impossible if we want to make it happen.
And then you just map that to more normal, the business thing. People who work for some big company and they're used to getting a steady paycheck, right? And they go, I like collecting blah. This is my favorite thing. And I go, well, if you love that, then that could be your business.
Absolutely.
You could collect them and sell them, or you can collect them and teach other people about them, or a million different ways. And they go, oh, nobody would buy that. Right. Really? Nobody would buy that, huh? You bought it, right? Like you did, and there's others. There's a society. There's magazines. You could sell it, right? And that is...
And you don't have to apply a different... I mean, if your hobby was collecting Barbie dolls and that was really, what you love to do, you could make money at that. But if you're an accountant, the company has to make triple. Probably 10 times. Yeah. Okay. I mean, when we hired a lawyer, when I was working with the lawyers, we're paying them $25 an hour. We're charging $250. So they're getting 10% of the money. Okay. So we don't even want you if you can't make 10 times what you're worth.
Right.
And most businesses are like that. So you can take your accounting skills that you have right now and make triple probably easily what the company's paying you. Why on earth are you working for them?
Right.
And tomorrow something happens and they don't need you, you're going to be out of work. Yeah. I would be working to make sure that I'm not sitting there holding the bag when they decide they don't need me any longer. Yep. It's going to be the other way around. Sorry, folks, I'm making the $250 an hour now. I have my own practice. I don't want to work for your 25.
There's a couple of things in there, but one of them is, here's a problem that I've seen a lot of people when they leave their job or they get fired and they go, I will start my own business doing that. So I have a lot of experience with people who are web designers, right? Because that's my world. I've done that for years. So a lot of web designers, they work for a company and they're used to making whatever, $35 an hour. Make up a number. They're used to making $70,000 a year, right? So they make $30 an hour and they go out and they start their own business and they go $50 an hour. Like, oh, it's not going to work, right? Because you think, oh, well, I used to get 30. Now I'm making so much more. I'm doing better than I was. No, you're paying both half of the taxes and you have to pay for all the stuff. Like, it's a lot more. So you got to charge, what, 3 times?
At least 3 times.
Yeah.
If the employer isn't making triple what you're making for him, you're fired.
Yeah. Yeah. But for this example is for anybody who's got their idea, I'm going to go take the business, the work that I do and be my own business. You got to get charging double isn't enough.
Right.
No matter what it is. If you're used to making $50 an hour, you have to charge $150 an hour.
Absolutely.
And again, what happens back to that previous point is people go, "Oh, but nobody would pay that." You're wrong.
They paid your company when they hired you.
Yep, they did too, right? Yeah, that person has been billed out at that.
They're not billing you out at $30 an hour that they're giving you. They're billing you out at $300, like the attorney. Again, $25 an hour we're paying this guy, and we have to pay his health and all the other benefits. That's what you have to consider. You can't be going from $25 to $50 an hour and expect to survive because your expenses are at least 50% probably.
Right.
And usually most companies, if they make a 30% profit, they're happy. So better be making triple, as we were talking about, to make it work. But here's the difference. Do you want to be working for them who'll get rid of you at any moment, or do you want to be the one that's getting rid of people?
Yeah, well, I don't want to be getting rid of people. Yeah, I would like to be providing for people so that they can feed their families. Yes,
Well, what I really mean is this: is when
in control of it.
The last position on the totem pole is you.
Yeah.
You're not going to fire, yourself.
Right.
As the last person that goes. So, I mean, you always want to be in control, and that's the important thing. But sure, you want to provide for others, and you will.
Right.
Because now you're in a position to do that, to hire, and train, and teach.
And we talked about that just a little bit before, but when I worked at Citibank for a few years, on one day, like the day before the quarter's over, they fired 2,500 people because they needed to save 1% on a quarterly report. And it's 2,500 people from various departments and various amounts of tenure that they've had. And it's just, those people don't mean anything. They're just a number.
Did they hire him back next week?
Yeah, no, they sure didn't. It all went into the CEO's bonus, which was sadly lower that year. And so we all have, I think maybe it might be like we have that bias against entrepreneurs from the media and salespeople from the media, books and stuff. There's also that big corporate. Like we all hate big corporate because it's evil. Really, it's just people too, right? They're just people too.
And selling. Like you say, people hate people selling. Well, I mean, if you never sold your wife, you won't have one.
Yeah.
Okay?
You're always in sales.
Everything you do is selling. Now, you can't directly relate it, but when you go in and talk your boss into paying you twice as much as you're making now, I think you sold them.
Yep. Or you're fired.
Selling is selling, and everyone is selling all day long. Everything you do, you're trying to sell your argument to your friend when you're talking. You're having a couple of beers. You're trying to convince him to believe what you believe, politically or whatever it is. So selling is a constant thing, and don't ever think if you put down people for selling, then you're dead. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't talk to anyone. You can't do anything.
Yeah. Any entrepreneur, any business owner at all who doesn't like selling, really, you might want to go back to being a cog in the machine because you have to sell, and like you have to sell people to be your employees, even, right? You have to sell them that it's worthwhile venture, that you're going to get paid this now, but here's the future we're painting, and then you have to sell them on that. So every aspect of it is sales, and you have to get better at it. What I like is let me have your opinion, right? Because I think the world of sales is way different now. It's not pushy. We got the best flashy stuff like that anymore. I have it that sales is, let me educate you a little bit about this world, about this industry or this product. And I'm not really selling it. I'm educating you about it. And then people go, wow, you're the expert. You're helpful and you're knowledgeable and, oh, look, available. That's how I see sales is now.
Well, especially on the internet, because there's so much shyster situations there that if you go and just push for the close, you're probably going to lose everybody. Yeah. You have to educate. You have to show that you're worth something to them. You got to give them your best stuff for free. When they look at that, say, well, maybe I'd like to work with this guy. I'd like to hire him or whatever. So if you're holding all your best stuff back, no one's ever going to hire you, so you're never going to get to use it. Right. So I think you have to give something that's worth something to others. You can't just be giving them the surface stuff. You got to give them some deep stuff and say, hey, you go out and do this today. Sorry.
Yep.
We're banging there. If you go out and do certain things today, it's going to work. I mean, there's certain things I know that if you did it right now, you're going to make some money, period. Now, I don't know how much money you're going to make in your field, but it's going to work, and you got to go out and find out. You have to try it. If you don't try, then you're not going to be an innovator. And right now, if you're not an innovator, you're going to be out of business because someone right behind you is coming up with new ideas every day. Someone can copy me today, but I'm already thinking about tomorrow. So you're going to be a step behind me. But if I stay in today, they're going to all pass me. They're going to learn everything I know, and then I'm not going to be in business anymore. You better be an innovator if you want to stay in business.
Yeah, I agree. And also there is space for not necessarily copycat. I'm not saying knockoffs, but and I want to bring this up because this is something people fear. Somebody who's an accountant or something working in a big company, and they go, I want to go be my own. But there are so many of them. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. They're not you. Right? People who want to be a speaker, I want to be a coach, I want to write a book. I'm writing a book right now on networking. Do you know there's a bunch of books on networking? The world doesn't really need another book on networking.
Read a few of them.
Yeah, but my book on networking is not out there.
Right.
Right? It's different. I have my own spin. I've pulled this, that, and the other thing from the world and my own experience. But it stops people sometimes. They go, oh, it's already been done. Or there are so many of them. If there are so many of them, that means there's a market. Right? That's all that means. Yes, competition proves that somebody wants it. So go do it. So, you don't have to be unique, is all I'm saying. You don't have to be completely the only one who's ever done this.
And here's the other problem with this, too, is what we're very natural at and very effective. A friend of mine is extremely good with people. His children love him. Everything he does in the family thing is amazing. Mm-hmm. But he thinks, well, that's just normal. Mm-hmm. No.
It's the air he breathes. Yeah.
No, your natural talents may seem normal to you, but it's not normal to the guy that's had 3 wives. I mean, and all his kids won't talk to him or whatever.
Right.
So, your natural talent sometime you miss because you believe that, everyone can do
that's
that.
Normal.
But
Everybody
it's not
does
true.
that.
It's not true. And you need to look at, what are you really good at and what you're really excited about. And you have to follow some of those things. Now, of course, if you want to be the fastest man in the world and you have no legs, you're probably barking up the wrong tree. I mean, you got to look at some of your natural abilities, but most things can be done by anybody. I mean, you have to take a look and say, would I go and do that for free every day? Would I get up in the morning and work for peanuts to work in that field? Mm-hmm. If you won't, then probably you're in the wrong field. You got to pick something you're excited about because here's the problem. You're not going to have the steam to finish the course when things get tough. If you're bored and you say, why on earth did I ever pick selling cars or whatever?
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't like
nothing
this
wrong
that
with
much.
selling cars,
Right.
but I mean, if you pick a job strictly for the money, you picked for the wrong reason.
Yeah. And it will wear out.
Absolutely.
You won't be able to. Once you hit the rough spot,
Burnout,
once it gets hard, you'll stop. Huh?
Burnout.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what happens. So that advice usually is people go, oh, what should I do with my life? Well, what do you like to do? What do you love to do?
Perfect.
The money in the world comes from, these are the things I love. This is what I like, my passion in the world. And the other circle is, what does somebody need? Right? What do people want? And all the money in the world's in the delta, right?
Absolutely.
Where do those cross? Because
Absolutely.
You could have the world's most affection for doilies. I love doilies. It's my favorite thing in the world. But if nobody wants them or buys them, then, that's a hard, it's not a business. You need a business that is both of those things.
That's the key. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but it's kind of neat. I have a great example I use all the time. There was a TV show on the Travel Channel called The Thirsty Traveler. And it was just it was a travel show, just like the typical Lonely Planet kind of thing. They follow this person around. This guy went to different cities in the world and drank beer. That was the whole show. I'm in London and I'm having this porter, and that was the whole show. And what's interesting is this is one of those things where people go, oh, I have this hobby or I like this, but nobody would pay for it. This guy pitched the Travel Channel and said, I love beer and I kind of want to see the world, right? And normally, if you went around to 20 friends...
Was that his dream job?
Yeah. You walk around and you go, look, I love beer. How can I make money doing that?
Mm-hmm.
99% of everybody's going to go, you can't. That's a fun thing for you. There's no job there. Oh, yeah? Well, I could make a show and travel around the world and like beer. I could be a beer taster. I could be a beer maker. There's a bunch of things you could do, right? So there's, that delta where what you're passionate about and what people will buy. sometimes it seems like, well, it's only me, or that's a pastime, or there's no there is a way to sell it.
You have to look at the market to make sure that there is buyers there at the level of the lifestyle you want to live. I mean, if you're going to cater to unwed mothers that are broke, you know, you may have a great story for them, but you're never going to make any money. So you have to look at the market and decide, okay, are there enough people that have DUIs that I could start another attorney business around here? So you know, okay, I'm going to make
there will always be enough. Yes,
I'm going to make 2,000-3,000 a crack here. I'm in a good business structure, but maybe there's 1,000 lawyers in town and they're all broke, and maybe that's not the right field. You have to make sure, you have to go on the internet, I think, and here's the wonderful
market
thing.
research. Yeah.
The research you can, and the testing you can do is amazing. I mean, you can take any idea, put a line drawing, put it up on Craigslist and see if anyone buys it. You haven't even made the thing yet. Right. And you test things for nothing. Yep. And I think eBay is the same thing, or Amazon. You can create an ebook tomorrow. That doesn't work. Well, create another one next week. Yep. Find a subject. First of all, find the subject matter that most likely is going to make it, of course, for people that have money.
Right. Well, look at ones that are already number one.
Absolutely.
What are the top 10 books in this field that you like? And then write a book like those. It's kind of copycat, but
that's fine. But now some people think, well, no one is in this field. Well, they might not be in that field for a reason.
There's a good reason.
Maybe there's no money. So you have to be careful about getting in a field where no one's there, though you could have. But here's the thing. If there's money there, you will have copycats. You're the first, no problem. People are going to be following you. They're going to see your website's getting 10,000 hits a day. And before long, there's 3 other guys selling your widget. Yep. So don't worry about the field. You look at the field as a good market, and it isn't too competitive, and you say, I looked at their websites and I looked at what they're doing, and I can do it twice as better, twice as good. I'll have phone calls. They only have email, whatever. Yeah. I'm going to change this and this.
You only need one strong differentiator.
Exactly. Get something that people say, wow, I can actually talk to a live person. I'm switching to that company. So you give them something.
Just a classic example is like Zappos. They sell shoes online. Lots of people had sold shoes online before they did it, and other people still do. But they're number one because their differentiator is just customer service, right? It's ridiculous over the top. But everybody's is. Like Domino's doesn't do this anymore, but there were millions of pizza places. Domino's said 30 minutes or it's free. Huge differentiator. That's why we win. So you can pick something that other people are doing, but you have to have a single point of uniqueness. And just lastly, please, and Seth Godin will say this every day. You know Seth Godin?
Oh, yes, I've read lots of his books.
Love
good.
It. Yeah.
Love him.
Do not make your differentiator low price, right?
No.
It's just a race to the bottom, and that is not a race you want to win. You know,
right.
you know, cheaper, and then I'm selling stuff for a penny more than I make it for. You know, so pick a differentiator. Like you said, people might copy you. That's okay. You get to be the original. You're the innovator. You have something to stand out.
Absolutely.
You know? Unless it's an electronic, and then they're going to make it in China for a tenth of what you can.
I think most people, here's the biggest thing they have to do. They have to change their paradigm.
Yeah.
They've been thinking that they're such and such. They've looked at a business in such and such a way. But suddenly someone comes along like, who's doing all the business law online? You can buy a divorce papers for $100. You can buy this set of papers for that. Well, anyway, there's one company that's killed the lawyers for that whole area.
Zoom Info,
yeah, Zoom Law or whatever it's called. They've killed the lawyers that used to focus on that area. I mean, they've changed the paradigm. They've come in, and guess what? There's a paradigm that's ready to hit a bunch of businesses. Legal Zoom, and those businesses are the ones that don't change are going to be left behind. They're not going to be around anymore.
Like the encyclopedia people and the film people,
exactly,
and the buggy whip guys. Yeah,
I mean, I have been around long enough that I've seen the beginning and the end of an industry. I mean, I know it sounds like a failure, but what can you do? I mean, I had a computer repair business. I was working with Norton, and before we got bought out by Norton, and we went from. With a $50,000 investment, the owners we sold for $40 million to Norton, which was a great deal. And I thought, well, I'll go start my own. Well, here's the thing, though. I was already top in that field. We had a couple hundred salesmen, and we would have meetings, and the boss would say, okay, Ken's 30% higher than the next top salesman in the company. What is wrong with this picture? But just for some reason, sales was a good area for me. Yeah. But then I thought, well, I'll start my own. We got bought out by Norton and went and started my own. But here's the problem. when I started in that business, there was 3 companies in the United States selling these diagnostic tools for repairing computers.
Right.
When I started, there was 3 on my street.
Yeah.
So now we got 3,000 competitors. And when I hopped in, I made some money, but hey, I couldn't make the money I wanted to make. And if I'm going to work, I want to make good money. But here's the problem. I was in a field that probably I didn't really like, but it made me money.
Yeah.
And I when the things got tough, I could stick it out and say, hey, I hate this job anyway.
Right. Yeah. I'll find something
drop
I like.
it, and hey, I'm used to starting new things. I'll go find something else. But one thing I've found is that sometimes when I've had a fantastic business I've been in, and I thought, hey, I can do that again. Not necessarily, and it may take 3 or 4 or 5 years. And I've had times where there's a dry period with everything I tried lost money or didn't make much, and I had to go on and find the next thing. But there is the next thing. If you keep going, you're going to be that thing that they call, oh, he's an overnight success.
Yeah, right. After 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, he's failed for 5 years, and suddenly he's figured something out. Well, guess what? That person's been working on it for 5 years, and that's why they figured it out.
The only way to fail is to quit, right? Like,
absolutely.
I think it might be a Chinese, I'm not sure, but the quote is, fall down 7 times, get up 8.
Excellent.
Like that.
Yes.
Success is only, getting back up one more time.
Exactly.
For no matter how many setbacks. But what's weird, and I guess this was part of like The Secret. Remember the movie The Secret? Mm-hmm. They're like, most people quit right when it's about to happen. But that that's a hook, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and it's hard to tell. And actually, Seth Godin's book, The Dip, is about this. How do you figure out when either if I keep being persistent, I will be successful, versus maybe this is a dumb idea? Like, how do you tell? What's what I mean? How will you know? I guess you have to read The Dip, but that's a piece of it. But
one of the things you're going to know is, do you have the persistence to keep going?
Yeah.
Again, are you doing something you really like? Because if you pursue it strictly for dollar reasons, I can almost guarantee you're not going to make it. It's not going to happen. You have to decide, okay, I love this thing. I love Barbie dolls.
Got to get out to the world.
I love Barbie dolls, and man, I like the antique ones, and I like this and that, and I'm going to make this work. And there's enough people in the world, not in your city. If you set up a Barbie doll shop in the city, you'll probably fail, but you online could make that business be making you $200,000 or $300,000 a year, and you're the expert. You've been studying it, you know it backwards, and you think, well, what use is this knowledge of Barbie dolls? Hey, it's very valuable. I don't care what your hobby is. There's another, hopefully, 10,000 people that love what you're doing. I don't care if you're collecting bottle caps. So there's 10,000 other people in the world, because now we have the whole world, and we can reach them through eBay, for example, for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Costs us nothing. We can go on this. So we got to give them 10 or 20%. Who cares?
Yeah.
You
try to sell something for $2 or $4 just to see how many hits
Testing
it gets,
it,
right?
testing.
How much interest it generates.
Exactly.
It's not about making money on that sale. It's about finding out if people are interested.
But all you know is that if you can make $100 a week doing this particular thing, just copy it 20 times, and now you're going to make 20 times the amount. Just once, but you got to get one thing that works. And does it cost you a bunch of money? It costs you nothing. You can go on Craigslist. You can create things all day long, put them up on eBay, and see if they sell. They don't sell, they don't work.
You know what people don't know? You probably know this, but before the internet, way back in the day when we used smoke signals, they would sell stuff on TV, and it would say, may take 6 to 8 weeks to delivery. Do you know why it would take 6 to 8 weeks delivery?
They hadn't made any yet.
They hadn't made any. They didn't make those things that they sold on TV. Somebody go, this is a great idea. Let's put it out there and see if anybody buys it. If 10,000 people didn't buy it, they just sent that money back to those people.
And it's a perfect example of what they're doing on the internet right now.
But it's free in here. That's what's nice.
Exactly. They'll put up an idea, an invention, and they'll see how many people go to the charge card to pay it. And then they say, well, we haven't got it. At that point, they don't want to go through all the hassle. They want to see how much interest is out there. So they'll set up a scenario where they don't even have the thing, but they'll say, leave us your email, and as soon as we start making them, we'll get you one. Or you can give us your charge card now if you want.
And we'll give you a discount.
We'll give you a discount when we bring it out 6 months from now. But you've tested it, and what did it cost you? Your brain, your time. We're just talking time here today. All you need to do is use a bit of time. If you got a computer, you already got that going. You're already paying for your internet.
Yeah,
you got nothing to do all day.
That's what you got is time,
If you got nothing to do all day, start doing something, and it'll work. You throw enough against the wall, something's going to stick. Right. But start throwing things you like doing.
Yeah.
Don't be throwing things that, I heard a lot of people can make money from selling Viagra or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you can. It's a business that's on the rise. But I mean, you can sell the first one, but it's a good business. But can you keep it up? I mean, it's
right. And are you excited about keeping it up?
All right, so we've diverged.
Yes.
So quickly, and so that right there, I think, is good advice, just for anybody. I want to figure something out. Like, you could try to pre-sell something.
Absolutely.
Before you wrote your book, before you made your product or whatever it is, you can actually see who's interested. If you get bites, offer those people, say, look, here's the deal. It's not complete. If you pay now, I will give you a 25% discount or 50%,
exactly.
Right? And then you're making money on something you haven't even made yet.
Here's
So
an outline of a book I haven't written yet, but they're so excited about the outline they want to order one. Then you're going to have to go write it now.
Yeah.
You got a week, you start writing.
Right, and it's impetus. It'll actually kick you in the butt to go write your book, which might otherwise take you a year. Knowing that there's 20 or 100 or 1,000 people who go,
right.
I've put down $14. Where's my book?
And secondly, you got that $10,000 if you write the book. Now you got a real good reason to write the book.
Yeah. As if, my kids want to eat every day isn't enough of a reason. But it is, there's something more about, like, people have paid, right? There's something that, and again, you have your obligations for your family, but there's something about somebody's already paid you. Now it's more of a driver even than that.
And it's something
sometimes.
You're excited about doing.
Yeah.
The key.
Do you have any advice for somebody who's, I got an idea for a business. I wish I should do it, but I don't know.
I would just start to try to detail it. Okay, start writing out, what's this object going to look like? Okay, it's for turning eggs. It's going to look like this. It's going to look like that. It's going to be made out of this material. I can sell them for X amount of dollars. Let's do a line drawing, put it up on Craigslist and see what happens.
Test, yeah. The guys at AppSumo, I don't know if you've heard of AppSumo,
Yes.
AppSumo. Yes. They do deals on software and such like that. But they have a product called Make Your First $1,000, or whatever. And that's their whole thing is, just make a wireframe and go put out ads. They said that same thing. Like, just go put it out and see if anybody will pay you for it. And then that's the thing. As soon as 5 people raise their hand, you've got something.
You can refine it later. You can get all the great photography and the actual object and so on and have one made. But right now, line drawing. That's all you got?
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
See what happens. Is there interest? If you get... No one orders it, but 1,000 people inquired about it. Oh, you're on to something.
Yeah.
You better change it.
Yeah,
if
you're
you
close.
need to change it, you're getting there. You're getting there.
All right, Ken, we have to go. This has been our time. It's been fun. It's been a good back
great.
and forth. I like
Good
that kind of thing. More often than not, I'll have somebody, we're talking about their business, but I like talking about the ins and outs and mindset of what does it take to go be in business? What it takes is a little gumption and some market research, right?
If I could just say one last thing.
Sure.
The opportunities right now are greater than ever been in history. I'm totally convinced of that. When I had to do things without the internet, that was one thing. With the internet and the research and the testing you can do for nothing, this is the time. This is the place. Get online, do something.
Yeah. And then lastly is, Ken, you coach people, you mentor, you do that sort of thing,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So what's your email address?
KensProperties@hotmail.com. That's KENS properties@hotmail.com.
Right. So you've been doing some real estate in the past? Is that what that?
Well, yes, I did a lot of investing.
Cool.
Commercial property and
Cool. So Ken might be a resource if you need. If you got a business, you have business questions, right? It's probably a coaching relationship of some sort. But you can contact Ken. I do workshops. I do a one-day event for the introverted entrepreneur. I do 30-day video challenge. Check out TobyMartini.com. Ken, thanks for coming. It's been lovely.
Thank you. It's been great.
Bye. Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Thanks.
This has been Straight Up with Toby Martini. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you want to find out more about what I'm up to, you can always find me at TobyMartini.com. We'll see you next week.